But what may surprise you is that today we learned for the first time that over the past years we could have been saving perhaps as much as $500,000 per year on insurance contracts. It might surprise you to learn that that money could have been used to stave off layoffs, cuts to public safety, letting go of correctional officers, public safety officers, deputies, criminal prosecutors. It might surprise you to learn that maybe had we avoided those cuts, we could have maintained appropriate staffing levels, better addressed the rash of home invasions and burglaries that plague the rural part of our county. We could have kept people safer. You might be surprised to learn those things, but you ought to be shocked and absolutely outraged if today your chairman and your state's attorney push again for the high bid. If they choose to do what they've done year and year again and spend more money than is necessary while Kankakee County is broke. Your finance director just last Friday at the finance committee meeting said you barely made payroll 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks from now it's going to be tight again. He told you you are cash poor. Health insurance costs are expected to skyrocket this year. And the bank loans that you've lived off of year after year after year are dwindling to the tune of almost $1 million per year. Because even the local banks have told this board, enough is enough. Why in the world would anyone push for an insurance contract that is going to cost taxpayers $750,000 more than it needs to?
That's right.
Who would make that decision
That's right.
when we are broke? You would not run your household like that. Let me venture a guess why that's going to be the recommendation. Perhaps that's what they'll recommend because the high bidder has donated over $20,000 to local politicians and parties that have then spread that money to more politicians over the years. Perhaps they'll push for the higher bidder because the high bidder holds private fundraisers, all expenses paid at his private home, for politicians that are sitting and advising you on these matters. Maybe that's the interest here. Or could it be political payback? Payback for some of those who are on their way out the door and want to stick it once again to public safety because they didn't get their support in the March primary. These may be tough comments, but I'm talking truth today to this board.
That's right.
This has got to stop. We are broke. Regardless of the reason behind their recommendation to take that high bid, one thing is clear. The reasons to take the high bid are purely about politics. They are not at all about people.
That's right.
And practicing and playing politics is what it has put our county in the mess we're in today.
That's right.
Later on in this agenda, you're going to talk about some budget amendments to the tune of $400,000 where numbers floated around last week. Surely, some of you are going to want to push those cuts back to public safety. You're going to want to cut correctional officers or deputies or maybe both. And that's going to make our county less safe, less secure, all at the cost of paying higher insurance premiums to politically connected brokers. On Friday, I heard your chairman argue that the high bidder should get the contract because they stuck with you while times were tough, which may be true, but because they have great customer service. Their customer service is so good. That customer service is exactly what led this board 1 year ago to violate the Open Meetings Act, which the Attorney General has ruled. And though that's not my take on it, that's your chairman's take on it. I want to read to you a quick sentence from a letter that your chairman, Mike Bossert, sent to the Attorney General explaining why this board violated the Open Meetings Act. GIE's extension expired on August 20th at 12:01 a.m. During that period leading up to August 20th, several attempts were made which were unsuccessful as the final package was not yet available by GIE. When I met with the representatives of GIE on the afternoon of August 19th, I expected to receive an offer that was reasonable, that would address the county's needs, and I also expected I would have time to bring it to the full board for review. This was not the case. I was advised by the representatives of GIE in order for the county to remain insured and to receive the new policies at the cost quoted, which, mind you, increased by $200,000 last year. He would need to sign the agreement on that day. That does not sound like good customer service. GIE, today's highest bidder, gave your board less than 24 hours to approve a contract that cost the taxpayers over $1.1 million. And today we learned it could and should have been much less. That isn't great customer service. GIE backed you into a corner last year. They waited until the very last minute, stuck it to you, stuck it to the board, stuck it to the taxpayers. And here we go again, in the same position, on the eve of having to approve an insurance contract. But one thing is different this year. This year, you have what you should have had last year and years before. You have another bid on the table. And that second bid that you have can save you at least $500,000 and maybe as much as $750,000. And not saving you that money, but the taxpayers that money. I implore you to do what's right. Don't engage in their political payback games on their way out the door. Stand up for the taxpayers, approve the lower bid, and avoid more cuts to public safety. Thank you for your time.
All right.
That concludes public comment today. I have no communications or presentations or